Welcome to Hate to Wait, where two lifelong dieters talk about their current struggles with weight loss. Diets, we've tried them all. We are not doctors, we don't play them on TV or on this podcast. Join our journey because we're all in this together.
Hi, Emily.
Hi, John. I totally picture everybody in our group singing along with our theme song when it gets to the oh. Like I picture them with their hands in the air being like, it's time for Hate to Wait.
Doing praise hands.
Yeah. Letting the spirit in through your armpits. Do it.
Is that how that works? Yeah, is that how it comes in? I'm not sure either.
I don't know.
Yeah, I was raised, a little tangent. I was raised Catholic, and, Catholic, we stand, we sit, we kneel.
Yeah, it's like a workout going to mass. I got to tell you, from a non-Catholic perspective.
Yeah, then I went to I guess when I turned 50, I went to my first Christian service. That was, I don't even know what it was, to be quite honest with you. It's Christian, or whatever that means. It's not Catholic. And they got a band up front, and they're singing, and everybody's singing, and they're clapping their hands, and they got their hands up, and they're standing up with their hands, and their eyes are closed, and I'm like, what kind of nonsense is this? It took me a couple weeks to get used to it. I'm like, this is irreverent. We need to sit down and be quiet.
I do have to say the standing up and sitting down, great for people with ADD. Whenever I went to those services or to my friends, weddings and stuff with all the sitting and standing, I was paying attention.
Yeah, I was, as later in life when my knees went bad, I couldn't kneel anymore. Still can't kneel. Yeah, so it was different. It seems like I blinked and we're here again.
I know. I can't. Well, I have some heavy stuff to talk about. But
well, then you go first.
You want me to go first with this? All right. I kind of want to warn people. This is a lot of heavy stuff. And by the way, this was in a 5-minute phone call I got yesterday. But a lot of stuff happened in that 5-minute phone call. If you're driving, if you're not in the mood to get pulled down, go ahead, skip this episode, or maybe skip until John starts talking about his fun week. So my stepmom called. Well, actually, I called my stepmom because I hadn't heard from my stepmom and my dad in a while. And I got a call back from my stepmom, and she's like, wow, great to hear from you. Your dad's been in the hospital for 5 weeks.
5 weeks?
Right? And nobody has called to tell me. And here's the thing in my family, and maybe I'm projecting and this is what I'm telling myself is I could have called. Why didn't I call in 5 weeks? How have I not talked to my dad in 5 weeks? Why is this happening? And it's because this is my dad's and I relationship. I talk a lot about my mom on the show. She's bipolar. We have a very strained relationship. My dad and I, we were the type where we could sit in a room and be quiet and have the best time with each other. Like just sitting and quiet. Sometimes we'll talk, sometimes we're not. We're just hanging out. We don't talk that much. Neither of us like the phone. If you ever call me and you never call me. You're good, John. You text.
I know what to do.
If anybody calls me and I don't pick up, I just freeze. And I feel like my dad does the same thing with the phone. So calling each other on each other's birthdays, it's torture for us. So last time on Father's Day, I just went down and I was like, it's honestly easier just to come visit you than to call you because I hate the phone. You hate the phone. We just sit there on the phone in silence. It's like, as a podcaster, one of our biggest fears is dead air.
Okay.
It's so uncomfortable, right? That dead air right there.
Yeah. Okay. I can talk on the phone. I still can talk on the phone.
Yeah.
I do it, with some people, my cousin, Jimmy, I talk on the phone. So here's the thing. But you and I can sit on a video chat and talk for an hour, 2 hours.
Yeah.
Without an issue. Isn't that kind of weird?
Yeah. Well, I think it depends on the people. But then there are some people where it's like, we'll talk. We'll get into a really deep conversation. Like when my dad and I do talk, we go into the deep conversations, but both of us hate small talk. We don't want to talk about the weather. We definitely don't want to talk about politics. That's another thing. It's my dad and I have not really talked as often since the last election too. He actually brought up the election at a funeral we were at for a family friend. And I was like, oh, Dad. Here's the background with my dad too. He's had several strokes, a heart attack, blood disease at this point. He's a mess. He's actually in the hospital because they had to amputate his toe and he had a blood infection from recovering from that. Like, he is not well. They are basically just all these tests, all the medicines that he takes, not well, not doing well.
This is how I feel. This is how I feel like I'm going to go.
He's 66. If you looked at him, he looks like he's 80. He is frail. He is like...
He's 8 years older than me.
Yeah. He's 66. And John, you are light years ahead of him as far as movement, as far as where your mind is. Actually, my dad's mind is still a little sharp. I feel like watching all the shows that he does. But he's still there. He just can't do much with it. Like, I see him struggling with everything, with talking, with trying to get a sentence out. And my stepmom, like, here's the therapy session where I'm just on the couch venting. My stepmom really doesn't let him get a word in edgewise. She's one of those busy bodies, always up and talk. She's the reason he survived, honestly. He would have given up years ago. He would have been like, fuck this shit. Bye. But she's like, no, you are not leaving me.
Yeah, you're not leaving me.
No, I know. She's very adamant, like, you are not leaving me. But at the same time, while that's admirable and I still have my dad around, I don't really have my dad around. So hearing that he was in the hospital for 5 weeks, and I'm like, why is nobody telling me this? It's my fault for not calling. Hey, this is future Emily, and I realized something about 4 hours after we recorded, and I sent John a text message about it. I had a concussion for 2 weeks out of those 5 weeks. So there's that. That's probably why 5 weeks went by and I didn't talk to my dad. Well, at least 2 out of those 5 weeks. All right, that's all. I had to say that, clear that off my conscience. Back to the show. Oh, and there's more sadness. But now, future Emily, knowing what happened in the past, John's part gets really funny. So if this is going to bring you down, skip ahead to John's part. Still, 5 minutes, 5-minute conversation. That was just 1/3 of it. Then there was my stepmom got arrested for growing pot, which she does for my dad.
God love it. Okay.
How
old's your stepmom?
Probably close in age, probably 60, 62.
Okay.
Not for recreation, not for selling. It's because we live in Connecticut and my dad is part of the VA system. He's a veteran, so he can't actually go and get a medical card because the veterans cannot do that. They can't authorize that. They can't submit your records to go get a medical card for marijuana. So he's taking marijuana to deal with all the pain and suffering that he's going through. And then my stepmom gets arrested for growing it for him. So then I got to hear that. And then my stepbrother got arrested for like another thing completely unrelated. But this was like a 5-minute conversation just thrown at me yesterday. Outside of my eating window, by the way. Outside my eating window.
That's not fair.
No. And it's not fair, but it's not like I could tell her, okay, if you're going to give me bad news, I would like you to give it to me between the hours of 12 and 6 so that I could stuff my face and numb myself to this. That's a lot. Yeah. So I hope, I feel like giving a disclaimer, maybe re-recording a disclaimer for this episode. Like, this is heavy stuff. This is a lot of stuff. I don't expect anybody to take it. The last thing I want is any sort of like pity or advice, but.
No, I hear you.
Yeah.
And again, so I'm looking at it from the other side. There's times where me and my daughters probably don't talk for 5 weeks too. But my youngest, Jessica, works with me. So I talked to her like every day. So if there was something going on, she would tell the others. And when I had that infection in my foot, they all were like, ugh, they come running.
Yeah.
But in other words, if Jessica got another job and she didn't work with me, there'd probably be 5 weeks where they didn't talk to me. Because I'm not going to sit there and I don't try to insert myself in their lives. They all have boyfriends now and they're going to college and they're doing all their things. And I don't insert myself in their lives and I don't live with them. But then again, I don't have, I'm not married. So, and I don't have anybody living with me. So I don't have a support system here.
Yeah.
So it's, basically just myself. Like when my foot swelled up and I couldn't put any weight on it, I was screwed. Like I was like, how am I going to get food in the house and how am I going to get stuff? And, Jessica came over and she brought me food and she brought, food that was easy to make up, and so I didn't have to cook and stand and stuff like that. So, I have that. And then your dad has your stepmom. But you would think your dad would call you or text you. Like I would text my kids, hey, if you're trying to get a hold of me, I'm in the hospital.
Yeah, that's the other thing. Both of my parents hate smartphones. They're both on clamshells. Texting would be like asking them for $1 million sometimes. It's like they're more likely to
then I would pick the phone up and say, hey, I would call you and leave a message, or either talk to you or leave a message. Say, hey, I'm in the hospital. Give me a call.
Well, the thing is, with my dad, he's in and out of the hospital all the time. Not for these long stretches, but he has been in the past. And I think at this point, I don't know, maybe we've got to the point of FYI, in the hospital again. Talk to you at Christmas. Like
it's no big deal or whatever.
Yeah. And it kind of sucks because I see how my husband is with his parents. We see them at least 2 or 3 times a week. And my kids don't know my parents. Part of that is me. I don't really want them to
be around your mom.
Yeah, I don't really want to be around my mom. And then there's a lot of stressors at my dad's house, too. They have 3 yippy dogs that I hate. I have never hated a living being as much as I hate these 3 dogs. They are tiny little yip shits, and I want to just kick them. I can't stand them. They rile the kids up. Like, Layla's fine. She's 8. She runs around after them and stuff. And I just tell her, go outside with these dogs. But when I'm trying to have a conversation with my dad and actually talk to him about something,
they're yipping.
Yip.
Oh my
You're
God.
talking to my dad. And I'm like, Dad, what happened to the wonderful golden retriever we had as a kid that was nice and quiet, sat at your feet? Why couldn't we be those kind of dog people? What is this?
Have you been to see your dad?
I'm going today.
So it was yesterday this happened.
Yeah, yesterday this happened. I'm going today after this. As far as weight loss, I feel like we've been going 18 minutes. I haven't talked anything about weight loss or diets, and I apologize. The big thing with that is before, I used to just eat. And I really have had to look at my coping mechanisms for this stuff. First of all, something like this would happen. I would eat, and then I would smoke a lot of cigarettes. I'd be chain smoking a lot of cigarettes. This is like old 10 years ago, Emily. I'd withdraw from people. I would probably go to a bar and have a drink and try to forget about it. And the drink would turn into 3. And so I don't do that anymore. And part of me is like, but I thought once I stopped doing all that shit, everybody else could kind of come up and be like, okay, we don't need to do this terrible stuff. I don't know. Kind of lost.
So what happens now is you've had something that has happened in your life, which is traumatic, and you need something to help you cope with the information. And everything
and
everything you went to, you stopped.
Mm-hmm.
So how did you handle it?
I went and I talked to my husband. I read this book that I am loving. It's called The Untethered Soul. It's by Michael A. Singer. And it's all about when bad things happen, when problems come into your life, you let it go, but in a way where you sit with it. You actually look at it from stepping outside of the problem and seeing how it's affecting you, seeing what it's doing to your body, seeing the emotions it's bringing up, and then really trying to be present in this moment. This is not actually going to hurt you. This is a thought. This is a thought that's making you spiral, that you're focusing on, that's going to drive you insane if you keep thinking about it. But if you can step back and look at it as, this situation is happening. Here is how it's affecting me. Can I do anything right this second? No. Then I can't let it drag everything else along with it and distract me from everything else I'm trying to do.
Yeah, because I'm on the opposite side of this. Like, I'm kind of in your dad's shoes.
Yeah.
I'm older. I'm not in the best health. I'm fighting problems. And I don't want to be an embarrassment to my children.
Yeah, and I never want to make it sound like my dad's an embarrassment to me.
I understand that, but from him, he doesn't want to be embarrassment to you.
Yeah.
It's embarrassing to be like this. For years, you were the strongest person in their lives. You were dad. You could do anything. You know what I mean? You could build stuff, and the cat got lost, and you'd run and find the cat and bring it home. I mean, you were dad. Dad did everything. And now, as you get older, and and especially with me, like a lot of this stuff is self-inflicted. I did this to myself. It's tough. So I feel for you because I can understand where it's coming from with you. And then all of a sudden I kind of feel for your dad because I kind of know what he's going through. It's a sin. But I guess the good thing is that you did not go to food.
I didn't. That was a big thing too. That was like one of the things I was thinking was I want food. I want to make this hurt less, and I want food to be that comfort for me that it always was.
Mm-hmm.
And I wouldn't let it. And because I was reading this book, I'm like, I'm just going to sit with it. I'm just going to sit with this feeling and how heavy. That was the thing. I did yoga today, and it felt like I was back up about 60 pounds. Like my body feels heavy from this. It's crazy that the news and the guilt and the emotions just make you feel so heavy.
Yeah. And again, so this is going to be the tale of opposites.
Yeah.
So what you've done and when I tell you about my week. So how are you? I mean, you talk to your husband. I mean, he's got to be
he's a rock.
Right. He's got to be
yeah.
a place of strength where you can draw from. You can draw from his strength.
One of the things he tells me, and he has to remind me all the time, is I'm not my parents. Because you hear things that come out of your mouth and you say, oh my gosh, that's something my mom said, or that's something my dad said. And for me, that carries a really heavy feeling because I don't look at my parents as good parents 100% of the time. They did the best they could. And that took 36 years to be able to tell myself that they did the best that they could. And I can't guilt them for anything that they did because they thought it was the best thing for me.
But then again, if you watched Friends, like me, I watched Seinfeld. There's times when something comes out of my mouth from Seinfeld.
Yeah.
Because I've seen it and watched it and everything. It doesn't mean that... But you've put kind of this negative, like when you hear... I hear myself say things that my dad used to say. Yeah. I mean, we all do. We were raised. That's how we were raised. That's how we learned.
I know. And my learning of how parents are supposed to act wasn't very consistent. So it's like, I don't know if what I'm telling my kids was my mom when she was manic and they shouldn't listen to a single word I'm saying, or if what I'm saying to my kids is like my parents when they were actually 100% focused on me and they weren't fighting about something for a change. Like, that's the stuff I don't know. Oh, why does this stuff have to hit you when you're like 36? I was fine. I'm happily married. I have wonderful kids. I have a wonderful job and a wonderful life. And then like all the stuff from my past comes up and it's like, I'm going to make you question every single thing you do because we're going to look back on your past and realize it wasn't that great. Like it's so, it's a mess.
All right. So
let's get into your week.
Okay. But just to wrap this up with a little bow. So I think you did a great job of handling this. Like you probably in the past would have just went and grabbed some food and snacked and. I would have grabbed food and I would have canceled talking today. I was very close to it because I was like, I'm in a space, John. Oh, I could have very easily canceled today.
But that's the thing about this podcast. It really is like our therapy. I mean, as soon as I say something on a podcast, first of all, I can look at it in wave form and it's not as scary to me. As soon as I see words either in wave form editing or written out, that's why I write a lot of things, is to look at it and be like, oh my gosh, I am bigger than this thought. This is a thought. This is something that's in my head that's coming out of my mouth. This isn't who I am. And it's very nice to be able to do that.
Right. So I think that's a big win. Unlike me.
Tell me, Todd.
So Monday morning I get up and I step on the scale and I was 0.1 pound away from a new second number.
Oh boy.
I was like, man, this is great. And was feeling good. And I know I had a doctor's appointment on Wednesday and I can't. So anyhow, I go through Monday. I recorded Brilliant Observations and we had a really good show. And I knew it was a really good show because afterwards I really wanted to edit it and get it ready because I wanted to. And so I got that So everything was great on Monday. So I get done here. And what I've done is I have problems sleeping. I don't sleep for long stretches of time. Mm-hmm. And so I decided I bought melatonin.
Melatonin. Okay.
I think it was Saturday night. I figured I'd do it Saturday night because this way, if I sleep in, it's not a big deal. So I took one Saturday night. Didn't even work. So for some crazy reason, Monday night, I was all vamped up. And I said, well, if I take one of these, it's not even going to do anything. Let's take two. So I took two.
Well, how many milligrams are they?
They're
Are
only
they 5?
Yeah, 5. So
They're
I took
5?
Yeah,
Yeah.
I took two. I said, look, I'm like, I'm a big guy and, I probably need more medication. Let me take two.
Mm-hmm.
But the thing with me and medication is it really does, sometimes medication really affects me and sometimes it has the opposite effect. So anyhow, I took 2 melatonin and I blanked out. I just lost consciousness. I went to sleep, and in the middle of the night, I was dreaming because Samantha's coming here in October, and I was dreaming that she was on her way, and I was dreaming like, oh my God, there's no food in this house that she can eat because I have my soy stuffed in there and all. So in the middle of the night, I picked up my phone and I ordered groceries.
Wait, you did, like in real life, you did this?
In real life, I picked up the phone. I was in some kind of dream state. I slept, grocery shopped.
John, this is why you have like a $500 recording, too, is because you buy things in your sleep.
I bought a $350 digital recorder right here in my sleep.
You have to turn the shopping apps off your phone.
I guess I do. So I wake up in the morning and I felt pretty good. I had a nice sleep, I thought. And I come downstairs and I check my email and it says, ShopRite, your order is being... And I'm like, what? I didn't order anything for ShopRite. I look and in the order...
What did you order?
So
I needed this, John. Thank you. I needed this laughter.
Sam is coming, so I get like her favorite things. Like she likes Canada Dry ginger ale, and I got
really.
Yes,
really.
She likes. Yeah,
I love her. I love that she's from Canada
and drinks Canada Dry ginger.
Yeah, thank you.
Well, she might not like. Well, she does like Canada Dry, but she might like others too. But since she's Canadian, I always get Canada Dry. So. And she likes pumpkin pie, so I bought a pumpkin pie. I bought ice cream bars. I bought, I happened to buy 2 things of tapioca pudding. It was like, I bought eggs and I bought chicken. I bought all this stuff, right? $80 worth of groceries. Paid for it and picked a delivery time. So it was coming Tuesday.
Do you remember any of this?
No, I remember in my dream buying groceries.
Yeah.
So I do remember it, but I thought I was dreaming it. This is the craziest thing.
Oh, never take Ambien, John.
I
have seen what people do on Ambien. And if you're doing that just on melatonin,
right?
The natural stuff that our body's supposed to make.
So the next day at like, 12 o'clock, the food shows up. So I say, all right. I said, well, you know what I'm doing? I'm getting rid of this food because you know who's going to eat it? This guy. This guy right here.
Oh, my goodness.
So, of course not. I did not. So, it was Tuesday came. So I said, I had some tapioca pudding and whatever. And then I was sitting there watching TV. And I said, you know what? I'll have a little bit of pumpkin pie. I ate the whole pumpkin pie. I just went on like this crazy binge.
Yeah.
So, I'm not used to eating a lot of sugar.
Oh, yeah.
And I'll tell you what. It was Wednesday night. Yeah, last night. Last night, I was all... jitter. I felt like crap. I was like, oh, I don't like the way I feel. I don't like this at all. I feel horrible. I mean, I can't believe that, sugar makes me feel like this when you eat that much sugar. So I drank like a ton of water last night to try to flush that through my system and everything. And so I was talking to Sam and she's like, did you eat that pumpkin pie? Yeah, I ate that pumpkin pie. I said, I can't believe how easy it is to eat a whole pumpkin pie. I mean, it wasn't really that hard. I didn't eat the crust. I just ate the stuff out of the center of it. I'm not
even joking. I was looking the other day in the store at the can of like canned pumpkin pie and thinking of getting a spoon, opening it up.
Yeah.
I feel you on that.
Yeah,
pumpkin pie is pretty damn good.
Yeah, it is. So
especially this time of year, it's getting cooler. People are in the mood for it.
And yesterday was gorgeous here. It was. Yeah. I went to the doctors. The doctor said that, things are really starting to, heal up nicely now. So it shouldn't be a whole lot longer because I've been doing this now for a couple months, trying to get this to heal, which makes me nervous. Like the thing what's going on with your dad, like he lost a toe.
Yeah.
And then when I had that infection in my foot, I was like, you better get this taken care of because you don't need that. Right.
Yeah. And my dad's one of those, he hates doctors.
Me too.
Like if my stepmom were not around, he would never go.
Absolutely.
Like he is just like, no, it's fine. And she's like, this looks really bad.
This is black.
Yeah. It got to that point. And honestly, my dad, he's he's very much like, well, if it's meant to fall off, it'll fall off. But if a doctor tells him it has to come off.
Right.
No, I don't know. He doesn't know what he's talking about. No.
Right. So then I decided, like I said, so I ate all that. And then then I got on the scale and I was like, yeah, that 0.1, that's gone. That's history. So then I talked to Sam last night and she says, what are you going to say tomorrow on Hate to Wait? And I said, I'm not telling him about this. And she's like, what do you mean? I said, no, that's bullshit. I'm not talking about this. And she says, well, you got to be truthful. I go, I don't think so. I don't, this is embarrassing. How do I have a episode 69 and I'm still binging? I'm still binging on food. I still had a full on bit. I can't be around food.
But when was the last time you binged before this? Weeks ago, probably, right?
Yeah. Why? Okay. Why is it that I don't binge? Because I don't allow myself to be around food. I can't.
I can't. We're also not robots. That's the other thing. We're not robots who's like, okay, well, I've gone this long and I'm just going to keep on going. Like every time we make a choice for something, it's because we're human and we have the ability to make that choice. It's not, oh, well, I've gone this long, so I might as well keep going. I mean, maybe that's a thought, but.
Well, this is why this is the tale of two different things. You leaned on your husband, you read a book. Yeah. You didn't turn to food.
Well, also that's one of the things that intermittent fasting really calms my brain down about is because it is such an easy thing for me to control too, and just because I had control over that one thing of not eating, I think that was the only reason because I'm just grasping for something that I have some control over. And for me, that's my eating window. Like I do have control over that. I don't have control over anybody else. That's why I cling to it at this point.
I might have to go back to intermittent fasting. I might have to go back to it. I might have to because I can't be trusted. So then I'm mad at myself. Mm-hmm. So, and then remember last night was I'm on a sugar high. I'm trying to get stuff done. I got a lot of pressure. I make a mistake. I screw up a client's file and publish it. So I wake up this morning and I'm like, I don't want to do this. I don't want to come on here and talk about, what am I going to talk about? Honest to God, before we open up these microphones, these truth serum microphones.
Yeah, the thing that until I turn it on and press record, everything in my body is like, keep this bottled up.
Don't
keep
you
this
dare.
Shit down.
Shut up.
Don't do it.
Don't you say anything.
I know you want to do it. I know you think that you're going to help other people in this situation, but don't. Nope. You are going to be open and vulnerable, and it's scary.
So I talked to Sam last night, and she's like, John, how are you going to do this? She's like, you should tell them. And I'm like, nope, I am not.
This is the brutally honest episode, everybody.
Right.
Emphasis on brutal.
And I probably would not have said anything. I might not have, except you came on and talked about how you had some really troublesome news in your life.
All the shit hitting the fan.
And you did not turn to food. So then I have to then say, okay, I applaud you for not giving into that. And what you did was you talked to me. So instead of eating the pumpkin, I would have done better by taking the pumpkin pie and the tapioca pudding and throwing it right in the trash can. Just opening up the trash can and throwing it right in the trash can.
That was another thing I was thinking about growing up with, is it was very hard for me to do something like that because we didn't have a lot of money and I was constantly being told, you should eat this because we don't have a lot of money. We don't have money to make more. This is all you're getting. And you should finish your plate. Like you always just please finish your plate or at least finish your milk. My mom was big into milk. So
I just can't believe that I would sit down and eat a whole pie. I just couldn't believe how easy that was.
Part of me is like, I understand because it's pumpkin and you only ate the filling.
Yeah. So, and it was it was very easy.
I get it.
I know, but then people,
Yeah.
so some people are listening to this right now saying, geez, whole pie. And I could have and should have just said, okay, if I want that pie tomorrow when I'm in my eating window, I'll eat that pie tomorrow. But right now I can't.
Yeah.
That would have been a great way to change, a great way to look at something or call somebody.
Yeah, my big thing is knowing that food is such a distraction for me that if I focus on not eating it, it's just pulling me in further. Like I have to just disengage completely I barely even walk through the kitchen if I can help it.
I should have this on my phone. It's just like a little button.
Stop it!
Stop it. Yeah.
It's like, hey, you know what? I think I'm going to eat that pie.
Stop it!
I need that. Or,
Put that cookie down now!
put that pumpkin pie down now. So it's the tale of two, the opposites of what happened. You had some bad news, and normally your coping would be to eat. And then for me, and it wasn't even that I was upset. It was just that I went upstairs. I was tired, and I was like really, really hungry. And I could have made. I have food in this house that I could have eaten that would have been 10 times better for some crazy reason. And I really do believe, and I hate, like I said, it sounds so stupid every time I say that, but I have no control over, or little control over food that is sugary and, that kind of food. I just can't.
And that's why you don't have it in the house. That's why
I don't have it in the house. Right?
Yeah, that's why an alcoholic wouldn't be like, oh, I'm just going to order some stuff just to have it. Like, no.
Like when my daughter bought that cheesecake over, and I was like, where'd you get this? And she didn't tell me. And I was like, that's a blessing in disguise, because I probably would have went over and said, let me go over there and get one of those little cheesecakes or something.
Yeah.
So again, I really feel like I can't be trusted. It's like I said, addiction is very hard to get over.
Yeah, if you guys missed, John reposted a post he put up
9 years ago.
Yeah, 9 years ago.
And I said if fast food was illegal,
you would get the chair.
I would get the chair, yeah. So this week has been very stressful for, I guess, a lot of reasons. Work-wise, podcast-wise, I don't know.
That's another thing, is everything is happening, too. I'm currently within a month of this giant conference that I'm helping to plan, and I realized I will have no idea what to do with my free time and my thinking time when I don't have to think about She Podcast Live. And I'm scared because I love thinking about it so much. Like, I'm like, I'll start thinking about next year. Jess, do you want me to start promoting 2020? I'm on it because now
I think you're going to, because usually those things never stop. The planning for them never stops.
Yeah.
But that was the same thing with Revive Live. When I was doing Revive Live, it was so much of a daily part of it was part of my day. I was constantly thinking about it at night and everything. And when we went on hiatus, I was like, whew. Like yesterday, I basically took the day off because I knew I had to go to the doctors and I wanted to make sure. And it was a beautiful day outside. And when I went outside, to go get coffee and all, I was like, oh my God, this is so nice. So I basically took the day off, which is probably why I put more pressure on myself. Oh, she didn't give me the files until 6 o'clock anyhow. I checked that. So it doesn't matter. I couldn't have done anything anyhow. And I was having such a great day. And then like last night I came in and just like, I basically since Tuesday to now, I wrote it. And as we talk about what happens on the scale, the other thing I got to realize is that I didn't gain fat. What I did was I ate carbohydrates, which makes me retain water.
Mm-hmm. Have you been taking your whooshy pill?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, but still you retain, whenever you eat carbohydrate, you still retain. I can feel it. I can feel myself swell up over this.
Yeah.
So, and it really made me mad because I could have been well into my new second number this week. And I ruined it. And it wasn't worth it. So here it is. Here's Johnspiration. Johnspiration was that whole thing of eating pumpkin pie and tapioca pudding. Wasn't worth it. Whatever pleasure I got out of that, whatever itch that scratched, really wasn't worth it.
What's funny is because of this podcast, because we have to come on and talk about this, we're constantly assessing what we're doing.
Okay, but I would be doing that anyhow. This podcast doesn't have anything to do with that.
But you're you're assessing it. You're not just walking away from it and being like, well, that was a binge. All right, I'll do better next time. But now you're really going into it and being like, that wasn't worth it. You don't just have to think, well, that was the past. I'm not going to think about it. I'm just going to do better. You're at least teaching yourself that this sort of stuff isn't worth it. And now that I look back on it and look at how I feel, probably this will help you not do that again.
Right. And addicts lie because I was going to lie. I was going to lie about this whole thing. And Sam's like, well, okay, do what you want. You know, she knows I can't lie to her and I can't lie when I open a microphone up. What is wrong with me?
I think it's good. I think it's a good thing.
So I took melatonin, ordered groceries in my sleep, ordered stuff that I really shouldn't eat, and then I ate it all. That's my week.
I'm so glad I put that disclaimer like, hey, my stuff is really heavy. Why don't you skip ahead to John's stuff? Because John's stuff is funny.
Oh, God. Is it funny? I mean, I guess it's funny
It's funny to a third party, but you're going through it, and that, I'm sorry, that sucks.
No, I mean, as I look at it now, I can see the humor in it.
Yeah. And you also tell it in a funny way.
Yeah, but it's like, to me, the emotion that I feel as I start this is embarrassment because I'm 50, going to be 58. I'm a grown ass man that can't control himself around a pumpkin pie. Who does that?
I want to see all the hands raising right now. I'm like all the men your age. I'm like, yeah, I'm sorry, pumpkin pie. I get it, John.
Ugh.
I understand you. I feel you.
Yeah. I haven't played this in a while.
So there you are, Tubby.
All right. So what do we do our winning Wednesdays and then
Let's do our winning Wednesdays. Let's go to people who have wins that we can celebrate, because if we can celebrate for others, we'll get in a much better headspace. I promise.
Here we go.
Winning Wednesday, Winning Wednesday, Winning Wednesday, Winning Wednesday, Winning Wednesday.
Ingrid, I hit another 40K steps. That's 2 weeks in a row for me.
Yay!
Where'd happen to my... There it is. I don't even know if she ever sits down.
I know.
40,000 steps in a week. That is crazy.
Teresa says she has officially started her annual art series. Oh my goodness. If you follow Teresa, I'm going to use her last name in here. If you follow Teresa Kraut over on Instagram, she is amazing. She does these little clay figures and they're called voodoos, and they are tiny little clay voodoo dolls, but she dresses them up and she does one a day for every year she's been alive up until her birthday.
Huh.
So like last year, I think it was... See, I don't want to use the wrong date, so I'm just going to say Teresa was 21 last year.
Okay.
She was not, but so she would have done 21 days of making these voodoos that she calls them.
Voodoos. I like voodoos.
They are so funny. Teresa, please post them in the group because Teresa is amazing. I love that she is a part of this Facebook group because I've been following her art for years, ever since I heard about her on Everyone Has a Podcast. Oh my goodness, it's so much fun. But she says, bonus, it's hard to eat junk food when your hands are full of clay.
You know something? I got to say, I don't know. I would have a fork or a spoon.
I would start looking at the clay and wondering how it tasted, honestly.
Oh, it doesn't taste good.
It does not taste good. Mm-mm. That didn't stop me as a kid with Play-Doh. Freaking love Play-Doh.
Oh, really? Ooh.
Yes. I like the salt. I like to lick it and then get really like, that's disgusting. And then do it like again 2 weeks later to be like, I just want to see how disgusting it is again.
Yikes. Brenda says, I met my sleep goal. 7.5 hours, 5 nights in a row. Finally feeling more human. I'm telling you, when you get a good night's rest, you wake up the next day, you got a little spring in your step. Your brain's not cloudy. It's fantastic.
Good. Yeah. A good sleep, man. That's what I want for Christmas. Victoria said, although I found the scales my daughter hid, I have not succumbed.
Oh, she hasn't stepped on them even though she found them.
Yeah, that's amazing.
That's a good thing. And then Elizabeth said, I did it. New second number.
Oh, my goodness. That's awesome. Yay.
There you go. There are winning Wednesdays.
Yeah, thanks, everyone.
All right. So you know what that means.
Ladies and gentlemen, now is the time for the moment you have all been waiting for. It's time for the weigh-in.
All right, we have the weigh-in. This week's episode is episode 69, which is an odd number. And because my name has 5 letters in it and John's has 4, and I have the odd number letters, I get to go first. And I'm down 2 pounds, but it feels like I've gained 60. Like, that is the heaviness of news like this, where I looked at the scale today and I'm like, yay, I'm down 2 pounds. I don't feel it at all.
You're still getting not that.
I'll take it. Yeah. I'll take it. But again, like, the number on the scale, man, I would give back those 2 pounds if I didn't have that phone call and all the things associated with that phone call happen. Like,
I don't understand it. What do you mean you give? Oh, you mean you'd rather not have the weight loss and not have to go through? Okay, I get that. I get. Yeah, I understand.
Oh yeah. And I definitely don't feel 2 pounds lighter. So
that'll come around. Yeah, it's a lot. I mean, it's only been 24 hours, right?
Yeah.
So you're still going through it. All right. So I got on the scale this morning, and so last week I was down. What was I down last week? 4?
4.
Okay. So I was So I was down 4, and then I was down like 1.5 pounds, and then I got on the scale this morning, and I was up 3 from last week.
Oh, okay.
So
you were making it sound like you were up like 15 with that pie.
Well, actually, it's like 4.5 because I'm up 3 from the last weigh-in.
Well,
so it's 4. Yeah, so it's like 4.5 over that stupid pie and pudding. Pudding and pie did me in this week. And I didn't have enough time. So then, again, this is how I think. I'm like, oh, my God, I'm going to have to get on it. So I was going to take another diuretic pill to try to flush fluid out of me. And I said, what am I doing here?
No, these are the patterns we're trying to stop.
Right. So I had to come on here and just say.
Good. That's a hard pattern to break, too. I thought about it, too. Anyway, this is why I'll weigh myself on Sunday or Monday, but then not think about it until Thursday. Because if I weigh myself on Wednesday, my Wednesday will be a shitty Wednesday because I'll be like, I have to do this for the show. I have to do this, and I shouldn't have that done.
Yeah, I jumped on the scale. I'm like, oh, my God, I was just 1.1 pound away from this new second number. I was like, oh, damn it. That's what happens. All right, everyone.
Well, yeah.
Thank you very much for joining us. And we are now 240 members strong in the Facebook group, which is amazing.
Yes. Thank
really
you,
appreciate that.
Everyone's contributing and posting funny memes. I think that's my favorite thing are the weight loss memes. Keep posting them. If you see them, please post them in our group because they do cheer me up a lot.
The one I love is the one with the snake. And there's 2 snakes, and then one snake.
That's Teresa. That's Teresa's artwork. You guys, I've been talking about Teresa and how clever she is. She put.
That's her. She drew that.
She drew that. Yeah.
Oh, she does 100% amazing. Because I was like, that's totally me. So the one snake's looking at the other one and says, "Did you eat a taco?" And the snake got this outline of a taco.
Yeah, and it's amazing. And this is Teresa. She draws every day. I'm going to link to all of her Instagram, her Facebook. Teresa, give me all your links. I'll link them in the show notes or I'll find them on my own. And
very, very
everything
talented.
will go up there. Oh, amazing people in our group, everyone.
Yes. So, and if you want to join that group, it's very easy to do. Go to hate2weight.com/Facebook. And everything we've talked about, the links will be like the book that Emily talked about and stuff, and the Instagram for, I forgot her name, Teresa.
Teresa.
Well, the links for that will be there, so you follow her. And you can find all those over at hate2weight.com. So thank you very much for joining us. And next week, hopefully, things will be changing a little bit different. Maybe John won't order groceries in his sleep.
But if you do, oh my goodness, imagine if you do, and they're all healthy groceries, and you just get bags of salad.
Oh.
How disappointing.
Oh, no. No, that would be great. That would be great. But we will be back here next week, and thank you so much for joining. Talk to you later.
Bye, everyone.
No, it's later waiters.
Later waiters.
Bye, everyone.
Later waiters.